Hey yo! I'm pissed that Xillia is the next Tales remaster. Why is Xillia the next remaster? There was a ton of speculation since June of this year on what the next one would be, with many thinking it would be a long-awaited port of one of the classic games. There was just one problem with that. For those who don't know, which is everyone because I haven't covered one yet, yikes. JRPGs are my favorite genre of game. Within that genre, my favorite series was the Tales of franchise. I said was because for whatever reason, Namco hates the games that fall into the classic style of Tales, opting instead for the modern style. Let's call them, slop. All the games up to Tales of Vesperia were the classic series, with Graces starting off the modern era. I say that Namco hates them because not only do they refuse to make a new mainline title in the classic style, they won't even touch the other games at this point. Tales of Vesperia's remaster was back in 2019, 6 years ago, and I don't even want to talk about the PS2 port of Symphonia that we got. It gives me depression. I suppose the idea was to update the controls and combat to be more expressive and complicated. Notice, not complex, complicated, but in doing so took away a good chunk of the strategy element. The classic games had fun combat systems. You tied arts to up, down, left, and right on the D-pad or joystick, plus a neutral move, which could be chained together in any order once you had the right stuff equipped. There's always been people who don't think that style of combat is for them, but that type of combat, one-player controller character with 3 AI characters fighting enemies in real time, is what made a Tales game a Tales game. There was something charming to having differentiation between the character archetypes. Take a character like Tyr. She's a white mage, mostly, but specializes in AoE healing and mild damage spells. Compare that to the other white mage in the game, Natalia, who is more attack-oriented, using a bow, and specializes in substantial but individual healing. Okay, but now, you can't just have a white mage. You can't just have a black mage, because they also need to be able to attack and hold their own, just like any other character. Yes, while you still have characters that are designed to be frontline fighters or mages, they just don't fill those specific roles as completely as they used to. Frankly, and it sucks for me to mention, but this isn't even a new concept for JRPGs. There's always been 2 camps on this idea. Some people like when the party is strongly differentiated and certain characters play a specific role, where any character can fill any role depending on how you build them out. For the former, think of games like the earliest Final Fantasies, Fire Emblem, or every RPG Maker game. And for the latter, think of how materia altered the characters in Final Fantasy VII, the Sphere Grid from Final Fantasy X, or literally any JRPG with a job system. I bring this up because I can't think of another franchise that has completely moved from one type to the other and never looked back. I think the core of the change comes down to the fundamental way they've changed the combat due to feedback they were receiving at the time, or seeing the gaming landscape continue to move away from anything traditional. We're talking PS3 era here, so just think about how many franchises launched during that generation. They decided that the MP system needed to be scrapped completely. Now, you literally can't have a white mage class because there's no limit to them just casting spells, so if you kept everything the same, they would just be able to stand in the back and cast the strongest spells over and over again without any concern or limit, which would be totally broken. Look, I'll admit that the combat wasn't the most complex in all of gaming, but half the freaking fun of playing these games was having to micromanage your party in real time. Your black mage needs an orange gel, but the boss is charging an attack. You need to dodge. Open the menu and have another character throw the orange gel while your player character is free to guard. This may seem like such a small thing, but when you're in the moment, it coalesces into a fast-paced, exciting experience that makes you feel like you're taking down these punks as a team that can interact and help each other during the fight. Later games even give your party members the ability to select and choose items to use themselves without needing the player to command them. Though, don't worry, during most of the fast-paced fights, you'll still need to be doling out those bad boys as fast as you possibly can. All new Tales games starting with Graces use some form of a stamina system now, meaning you need to build up AP and utilize arts in the forms of art trees rather than tying the directional attack to the art. Does it make the combat way faster? Absolutely! But would I call it fun? Nah. When I pick up a Tales game, this is absolutely not what I expect. Dude, I didn't even bother playing Arise, because while I thought there was a chance they'd reboot the old style of gameplay, seeing it was meant to be a grand restart for the series, but they just went further in the direction they'd already been going. Oh, we have open world fights now. There's no transition between the battles in the world. That's crazy! Wow! I have no idea why they are so ashamed of the old games. Like I said earlier, these decisions are made by groups of people at Namco, and these are always the games they seem to choose. There was a lot of hype and speculation that they would have remastered Tales of the Abyss, but nah, no dice! I lose hope of a true classic successor every time one of these new things get released. Okay, thanks for listening to my cranky old man rant. I really bought into the hype thinking Abyss would be the next remaster announced, and instead it was the unbelievably mid one that came out on the PS3 that I was only so-so on back in the day. Tales of the Abyss is a much more deserving game with really interesting tweaks added to the combat system that give you more things to track and interact with. Whatever. What do I know? I'm just a rabbit. If you're a big Tales fan, please let me know what you all expected from the announcement in the comments below. If not, but you saw this coming out over the horizon, let me know if you're thinking you'll give it a try.